Welcome to True Tempo. I am going to take the Tempo-rature on Bilbo, Thief in the Night today. This card is coming out next week, and of course, most, if not all, Legacy players are aware of this. It's kind of a throwback to Dreadhorde Arcanist, which was banned, and that is by itself enough to kind of tempt the idea that this card is overpowered, but I do think that we should remember that a lot of things happened since Dreadhorde Arcanist. A lot of good cards were printed, so this might not be as strong as Dreadhorde was in its day. So just to go over the card, well, the most important text is probably the attack trigger, although the first sentence has some implications as well. So we can, when it attacks, we can cast an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell from the graveyard, and it's only the instants and sorceries that get exiled. That makes me want to pair it with the Bauble, because that's an engine. That's like a nice little Emery style, Dark Confidence style draw engine every turn at least. And then when we have better options, we can it's basically like flashback, right? So we can flashback a push or a cantrip. Maybe if we're really lucky, a flow state for 1 blue, because of course this reduces the mana cost. It's not going to matter with most cards, but it matters with in this list only flow state, maybe some sideboard cards in theory. So I want to just talk about the kind of the pros and cons of this, because it's not like you can just slot this in Izzet or in Dimir without making some tough choices. Here I am in this build that I show, like this is of course a placeholder, but so in this build that I propose that I would play, I guess, day one of its legality, I'm opting to like slot it in the Moonshadow build that I'm playing, because they already this list already has the baubles that I'm looking for. I'm choosing to go with a full playset, but that means that you can't fit in a lot of flow states, and I'm playing two just to have the kind of the flexibility in my grindy cards, in my card advantage cards. If the opponent has a lot of removal, it's nice to be able to flow state your way out of that. And I can see building this list with less creatures and more flow states, or even without flow state and more removal. Because when you have Bilbo, you also want to clear the way. It's just a 2/2, and you don't want to just attack into a big creature to get a card out of the graveyard. So you want removal, and yeah, it has its pros and cons, because once you kind of have like free access to just attack and flashback cards, then you're winning the game pretty fast, I think, just like you did with Dreadhorde Arcanist. Dreadhorde is a 1/3, so the attack, like the damage, was not relevant really, but this one attacks for a bit more. But it's the card advantage that we're really going for, and it's the same as with Dreadhorde. You don't get any value right away, so it's a bit like that makes me question the card in today's Magic. Like, how often will we be like sad to just play a 2/2 for 2 mana and pass the turn without any value, or nothing, no surprises up our sleeves? It's a card that you want to protect by forcing and dazing, so you can get that attack trigger and grind back the cards, and that was really good with Dreadhorde. Like, you can really see the pathway to victory by protecting the queen, so to speak, and it's going to be the same thing with Bilbo. But you can't fit in everything. I like it more in Dimir than in Izzet, because Dimir has better 1-drops. In Izzet, we only have Chandler, really, I think. Like, you can't fit Bilbo in a prowess build because there's no space, really. You already don't have enough space for flow states beyond like maybe 3 copies you can fit in. But yeah, it's so tight in prowess, and the main focus is Storm Chaser's Talent and Core Steel Cutter, of course. So I think that's just a different deck. Is it with Bilbo? And I think, yeah, the problem is that you don't have a lot of good 1-drops, so you get clogged in the 2-drop slot. Whereas in Dimir, you can play like either Tamio and Nethergoyf, which I suspect most people will do, like play the usual build of Dimir and fit in some Bilbos, or maybe people will be brewing even more, like more creatively. I like, of course, having the full set of Baubles because I feel like that's the baseline. I want to get Bilbo and Bauble going. That's better than Bilbo and Ponder or Bilbo and Brainstorm because they get exiled and they cost mana. So with Bilbo, like if I untap turn 2, let's say I don't have a third mana source, third land, but I can still attack, get a card, and develop my board. Or do something else, play a Thoughtseize or something. So I like that. Yeah, so most things don't change in my list here. Oh, sorry. Let's get him back. I think one of the tough decision points in building with Bilbo, Thief in the Night, is the number of removal. So here I'm going for like stuff that can kill other Bilbos and just kill most small creatures that might get in the way. I'm not playing any Brazens in the main because it's a bit heavy. But there's still the number of blue count, like the blue count to think about. It's 21 here. I'm only playing 3 Thoughtseize because I have all these good 1-drops, and I'm okay just like pressuring the opponent with creatures instead of clearing the way for Bilbo with a Thoughtseize. Like sometimes that's going to be available, but I'm okay. Like I prefer playing a creature, having Dace backup, and then maybe playing Bilbo, or maybe turn 3 playing Bilbo once they've used their removal. I like that potential a lot. And then in the sideboard, I think Bowmasters are still going to be very good in the most important card in the mirrors. Bilbo doesn't change anything. It maybe even makes Bowmasters better because when it attacks, you can play Bowmasters, ping it, and block with the 1/1, stuff like that. Bowmasters are still going to be great. I'm choosing to play a Caracas because I can like swap this for Wasteland in the mirrors and use it to protect my Bilbo, or bounce their Tamio and Bilbo if they play it. And there's just a bunch of legends in current Magic, like Atraxa, of course, Loki, Emery, Philia, and several others that are maybe a bit more narrow. But yeah, there's plenty of legends. So even though this is off color, I think it might be good. Of course, Married Lage is a big one. So I think it's time to try this. I've thought about it for a long time because of Tamio, but the big difference between Caracas on Tamio and on Bilbo is that Tamio costs 1 mana, so that's you're breaking even. Bilbo costs 2, so that's an advantage for whoever is wielding the Caracas. And I'm opting for Spellbomb because it's already really close between Surgical and Spellbomb, and maybe some other choices, depending on what you expect in the metagame. But Spellbomb is nice against Bilbos because you can't they don't target any certain spell, so you can't surgical. It's not like a Snapcaster targeting a spell. So, but you can remove all of the graveyard, and maybe that'll be very good, or just decent against the opposing Bilbos. Now, of course, everything is not going to be about Bilbo, especially because it's going to be expensive in the beginning, so it's not going to be everyone having access. But it doesn't really cost anything in the sense of other matchups. It's still going to be very good or very relevant in the different matchups, especially in the tempo mirrors against Chandler, Nethergoyfs, and so on. So it's not a big change. Another big question for next week is whether or not Fantastica is going to get banned, and like this Hercules recall is here because of Fantastica mostly. And I don't know. I think it's probably going to get banned, but it's a very tough choice. I'm happy I'm not in the Wizards office making that choice, because it's not a clear-cut decision, I think. But anyways, we'll see. I don't think it changes the metagame that much. It mostly improves Doomsday by a bunch, making it maybe the best deck, and removing that from the equation makes probably for a better metagame. But it's not a clear-cut decision, I think. But anyways, we'll see. It's out of our hands anyways. So yeah, this card is gonna be relevant, but I'm not sure it's gonna actually be the best choice for Tempo. Like, certainly not for Isid, I don't think. And in Dimir, we have so many other options, like playing more flow states, like playing main deck Bowmasters. So we'll see. But it's going to be fun trying it out. And with that in mind, I want to play 4. Yeah, that's it. And see you next week or the week after for some more Tempo action.